Do you think one day when Bitcoin is at such a high price, you're not going to go into the coffee, in the coffee store and order a coffee for 0.000073 of a Bitcoin? Do you think at some point when the number is so high that we switch to Satoshis as the denominated?
This is interesting. I think for now, when you go to a coffee shop, it'll be denominated in dollars because that's the base currency. I think once we get to the future where things are denominated in Bitcoin, it will be the amount of Satoshis. Yeah.
Cool.
That's absolutely wild. All right, here's the next one. So a lot of people know this, but I want to reiterate it because it's super, super important. So you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin, right? You don't have to spend $19,000 US. You can buy one Satoshi and you own Bitcoin. One Satoshi is 0.02 cents. Everyone can afford this, right? And you need roughly 4,584 Satoshis for $1 US that you put in. And this is why we say stack sats. So you keep stacking Satoshis more and more week after week after week, $10, $20 every week. And eventually you build your way up and you work your way up to having a Bitcoin. But you don't need to have a Bitcoin. You just got to be in the game and get off zero.
100%. Yeah, you don't need to buy a full one. I think Nathan wrote up an awesome post a while back about the power of owning one Bitcoin and what it would mean to own one Bitcoin in the future around being able to be financially literate in the crypto space, having the capital and the credit balance to be able to take out loans with that Bitcoin, being one of 21 million people. However, there's 7 billion people in the world. There's only 21 million Bitcoins. That's a very low percentage of the world that can actually have this.
So exactly right. So cop this. There is not enough Bitcoin in the world for every millionaire in the world to have one. So we have more than 21 millionaires in the world.
Yeah. And guess what? Millionaires own a lot more than one Bitcoin.
Exactly right. Exactly. And this is it. Another one is Satoshi holds a million Bitcoin, right? So this is the creator, the initial account. It hasn't moved. It's worth about 23 billion US dollars. And it's about 5% of the supply. So already that's gone down. And when we talk about supply, Chainalysis confirmed about 20% of Bitcoin has been lost forever. So 3.76 million Bitcoin have been lost forever.
I didn't realize Satoshi owned 1 million Bitcoins, really. That's fascinating.
So 25% is pretty much locked or gone. And you think about that with Chainalysis, you can't really confirm it because, someone could be holding on to it. But think about back in the day where 1,000 Bitcoins are worth $1. You wouldn't care. You just leave it on your computer. You trash your computer. That's why all these guys are at the rubbish tip looking for their bloody old computers that have $10 billion worth of Bitcoin on them. It's absolutely crazy. And again, there's only 1.3 million Bitcoin available to buy on crypto exchanges today. So if you think about it, 1.3 million people can buy a Bitcoin. That's the liquidity. After that, it's gone. That's why we see these squeezes where, people are trying to get at Bitcoin and the order book just gets eaten up. And then you start to go to the high price and people actually run out of Bitcoin to sell on exchanges. When the price actually is crazy.
Market, exchanges run out of Bitcoin. They literally physically ran out of crypto. So when you get this scramble, people are just chasing higher and higher prices because there's liquidity. So an analogy of that is if the world is running out of Mars bars and you only have 5 Mars bars left in the world and everyone wants a Mars bar, there's going to be higher and higher bids to get a Mars bar, right?
Yeah.
That's what's happened in the last bull market.
And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy as well, where you want the Bitcoin, but you have to pay a higher price. So you pay the higher price, but that then drives the price up further.
Yeah,
right?
Literally.
And you see this insanity because you want it and you want to hold it. And that is not the time to get in, folks, if you're doing that. And we saw Bitcoin go up $1,000 to $2,000 per day. And you're like, bloody hell, this is just crazy. Absolutely insane price action. Here's another one. You can lose your Bitcoin, obviously, by losing your keys, but you can also burn your coins. You can send them to the burn address, which is a wallet that can't be accessed, or you can send them to another chain. Generally, you can't do that anymore because a lot of the wallets will stop you and say, hey, you can't send to this address. But mate, having heart attacks when you type in your address and it's like, did I type in the right thing or did I put a space in there? Where am I actually sending this? And once you've sent it, there's gone. There's no give backsies, mate. It's just gone.
Sending you to the burn address, that's an absolute...
oh, wow.
That's a ballsy move.
Oh, mate, that's it. That's it. A lot of people do it though, like Binance do that quite often where they've got a big supply and they start to burn it. So their supply decreases. So the demand in effect bounces out, increases, and has price action because there's less of it around. It's a really good mechanic. All right, here's another one. So I love this one. So your Bitcoins and your tokens are not on your ledger or hardware wallet. They exist on the blockchain only. And you just use that as a way to interact. It's like a key to unlock it. But I love this part. I love it so much. You control those coins until you die, and then they move on to the next person or they get stuck forever. You never really own them. You can just move them around on the blockchain. You can't take them off the blockchain, do things with
No.
them, put them in your house. You literally just move things around.
The train stays on the train track at all times.
Oh, how wild is it, man? It blows my mind.